Hi, this is Stephanie, and you're listening to At Home with AI, relatable AI for regular people. So, my last episode was about roles. When should you include a role? For example, you are an expert executive assistant with your prompt, and when is it a bad idea? So, you could go back and listen to that one. But as I was writing it, I realized I had a few more tips about roles or alternative to roles, and I wanted to address them in this episode. My first alternative to using a specific role as in a job title is to use a famous person as a shortcut. So instead of just trying to describe a role in detail, you could use what's known as persona prompting and include a well-known person who embodies that role. So for example, if you love Dr. Becky's point of view on parenting, right, it might be difficult to put into words her specific combination of boundaries and empathy. So you could just make the AI be her with a prompt like, "You are Dr. Becky Kennedy. Write a set of speaking points about why curfews are important," or whatever you want it to handle, right? A question is this ethical, right? That's debatable because these large language models are scraping the content that these experts carefully created and content that they get paid for. So I'm not here to debate whether that's ethical. I'm just here to say it's a shortcut that works very well and is definitely less generic than a role like parenting expert. A second alternative to a job title type role is to include an example. Instead of imagining who would write in a certain style, just paste an example. Here's an example of a prompt that does this. You could say, "Write a letter to my son's soccer coach stating our concern about the new uniform policy, similar in tone and length to the email pasted below," and then just paste an email. And my last tip is you could point to a source like an article. So you can get pretty specific with a role, but you can get even more specific and put more kind of constraints on the information you get back by including, for example, an article. And I find this is a fantastic way to transition from just being inspired by an article or a website to actually applying it to your life and your specific situation. For example, instead of saying you are a financial planner and asking for a budget, you could say something like, "Here is an article outlining a budget framework. Ask me a few questions about my monthly spending and then build a customized budget using the framework from the article." And that goes for all kinds of articles. I mean, if you read about a specific way of eating or of life philosophy, these are all things that you could use as a framework instead of trying to figure out what role would embody that expertise. So I'm curious if you've tried these. You can find me on my Substack at homewithai.substack.com. Again, that's at homewithai.substack.com. Happy prompting, and until next time.